And she told me, like, listen, this was actually not the worst that I have experienced in Hollywood. I've actually experienced far worse misconduct. I spoke up because I wanted to address it, and I thought that I had, and I never had any intentions of discussing this or going public with my accusations.
I'm going to prepare you for depositions, and the perfect thing just happened upon my lap today. So we're going to listen to this NPR interview of Megan Twohey of New York Times talking about Blake Lively's process that she used to get here. And then we're going to take a vote at the end, a very important vote. Let's get into it. This is not a drill, people. Depositions are upon us, as in tomorrow, June 23rd, 2025. Now, you're going to be hearing some clinking and clanking in the back. That's the boy. He's deciding he's going to be in here with me today, come hell or high water. And to be clear, he is the hell and the high water. So I have no choice than to let him be here and clank his Legos and his magnets and stuff. I'm going to try to limit it and edit this as best as I can. There we go. But this mic picks up everything. So if you hear the clanking and clanking, ignore. If you don't, ignore me. All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm your host, Elsie. This is going to be a quick one because, again, the boy is like supervising me and he needs me to go quickly because, again, he's just over here haunting me with his toys and the noise, and now he's just staring me dead in the eye like, what are you going to do about it? Okay, a drill. Grab your children, grab your husbands, lock your doors. Blake Lively will be getting deposed by Brian Friedman. The same depositions she did not want him to conduct. Well, it's too late. Monday, they're coming. Just in case you don't know what depositions are, because a lot of people have been asking what questions can be asked, what questions cannot be asked. Can Blake get out of depositions? She cannot. Think of a deposition like a trial. I'm not a lawyer, but from all my lawyer shows and from what I understand, think of depositions as though she is on the stand in court at trial. Just there's no witness to the trial and there is no jury. But every question she's asked is on the record. Every answer she gives is on the record. If she withholds answers, it will be on the record. If she purposefully doesn't want to answer questions, it will be on the record. Whatever she chooses to do here will be on the record. If her lawyer steps in certain questions, to say my client will not be answering that for whatever the reason is, it will be on record. If they need to go in front of the judge to force her to answer certain things, it will be on the record. So she's not safe. This is as good as it gets for now until we get to the real thing in March of 2026. But just to, get that out of the way, depositions are to be taken as seriously as though you understand, hand on the Bible, swearing to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God, or whatever you believe in. So that's going to be happening on Monday. No, we will not get to see it. No, we will not get to know what she's asked. I don't think so. Nobody's going to be leaking anything to us. We're just going to have to use our imaginations. We're going to have to get our fix from whatever the lawyers decide to tell us afterwards. And there couldn't have been a better way to get us into the positions other than Megan Twohey of the New York Times talking about how Blake Lively actually never meant to sue Justin Baldoni. And she, in fact, did it because she just couldn't handle the heat that was coming from the fire she started by sitting in press tours and talking about her booze and her nail polish and her outfits rather than what the movie was supposed to be about. But leave it up to her to call it a smear campaign. NPR interview came up because Perez Hilton posted on it earlier about Megan Twohey talking to this Ari Shapiro man of NPR about how she came to, work on this Blake Lively issue and something Blake told her. Now, if you've already seen my videos on TikTok and Instagram, you already got the gist of this, but we're going to listen to this interview, just the gist of what she talks about, and then we're going to discuss down further because I think it goes to prove the idea that we've had and the points we've made all this time about Blake not actually ever meaning to sue Justin or ever thinking this case will get this far. And Blake Lively's over dramatizing the situation and mass unfollowing, going to dinners, taking pictures, purposefully not saying his name, purposefully neglecting his part in everything was what drew attention to the case. Nobody knew what was going on until the mass unfollowing and people started noticing Justin was not part of things. So if anything, she actually set this in motion.
Exchange where, and I am paraphrasing here, Baldoni says, I need you to be more aggressive. And she says, well, I can't put everything in writing that we're going to do because imagine how that would look.
Yes, in the beginning, a publicist who had been working with Justin Baldoni wrote to Melissa Nathan and said,
that never happened, by the way. Those text messages were heavily edited to make it seem as though those were a full conversation that was happening, and it wasn't. I don't have the time to go through the text messages here because most of us already know this. Those text messages do not read the way they made it seem in the New York Times.
Wants to feel like she can be buried. And Melissa Nathan responded, we can bury anyone.
Again, to be clear, that I want to feel like she can be buried never happened. And that whole we can put everything in writing, that was text messages between Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan, not Justin and Melissa Nathan. Not true.
But that Baldoni received an award just this month for being an ally to women.
It's important to know that Justin Baldoni and to some extent his, the producer of this film, the lead producer, Jamie Heath, have in recent years kind of gone to great lengths to present themselves as allies to women in the Me Too era.
It's not in recent years. Justin Baldoni has been this. And a lot of things, funny enough, a fun fact a lot of people don't know is if you use that Baby Belly app, or I forget what it's called, actually Justin Baldoni created that app back in the day when Emily was pregnant with their second child. Let me look that up really quickly. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So I found it. So back in 2016, Justin Baldoni and Travis Van Winkle created the Belly Bump app, and at the time it was the only app of its kind. I don't know for sure if they ended up selling the app to what is now, I think, the Baby Bump app, the app for what this does. I don't know the connection there, but at the time that was the only app of its kind because he created it for Emily because he wanted to see the progression of her pregnancy. He's been doing this feminism work and supporting women and being an ally way before the Me Too era. So for Megan Twohey to sit on this interview and say this is quite inaccurate and lazy. Do better research.
There was so much evidence that the smear campaign had actually done real damage to Miss Lively, that she had suffered the biggest hit to her reputation. Like the online conversation about her had undergone like a drastic transformation as this campaign was put in motion. And, he, by many measures, basically escaped without any harm to his own reputation. And
if we're going to be honest, the hit Blake Lively took and kept taking was because she kept showing up to these press junkets and sitting there being absolutely a ditzy and being doffed from a British people in the room and not respecting the moment, respecting what the movie was meant to do, and talking about her makeup and her hair and her nails and her boobs and telling people to wear florals to come see a movie about a woman getting her ass beat. She was acting as though she was promoting Jurassic World, telling people to wear their dinosaur t-shirts. That would have no impact. It doesn't matter. You were talking about real life events. The author who claimed this was a real life event, which we're finding out could possibly be a lie, but we're not here for that. That's why your reputation kept taking a hit. And Megan Twohey, to say Justin was seemingly not receiving any hits to his reputation and no harm because he was nowhere to be found. And when he was seen and was heard from, the man was consistently talking about the movie and what the movie was really about. He was not romanticizing it and not making it seem like it was this summer blockbuster. He was talking about the main issues at hand. While Blake promoted her booze and her Versace bags and her Judith, the lady with the fancy bags, the crystal bags. That's what Blake was busy doing. While Justin was promoting the movie to be what it is. That's the point you all keep missing. He was not taking a hit to his reputation because he wasn't anywhere to be found on the press junkets with them. He was on his own. And when he was heard from, he made absolute sense. Now we get to the nitty-gritty. Pay attention.
She told me, like, listen, this was actually not the worst that I have experienced in Hollywood. I've actually experienced far worse misconduct. I spoke up because I wanted to address it, and I thought that I had, and I never had any intentions of discussing this or going public with my accusations. And so to watch what happened next and to experience what she now is alleging was this complete campaign of retaliation felt in many ways much more sinister than the underlying misconduct.
That's Megan Toohey, investigative journalist for the New York Times. Thank you.
Thank you.
An investigative journalist who does no investigation. What do you call that? I don't know. You tell me what you call that, because you're definitely not an investigator. And forget journalists. You're not doing any of your jobs. Does that make you a Blake Lively? I don't know. I don't know what we're going to call it. What I do know and what I do want to talk about is how much of a crappy interview this was, because it was riddled with lies. And I don't even know what you call this. People were not eager to hate on women. People were eager to hate on a woman who sat on her pedestal, on a woman who sat on interviews, on a woman who sat in press junkets while interviewers would ask her, hey, what should people do if they want to, approach you and tell you about your story and ask for resources? And her response legitimately was, what do they want? My phone number, my social security number? That's why we hated you. The point of you sitting there and telling us to wear florals to this movie is why we didn't like you. You sitting there and telling us what kind of nail polish to wear, what kind of booze to drink, to go watch this DV movie is why we didn't like you. It had absolutely nothing to do with the smear campaign. Unless you're telling me the only way this smear campaign is legit is if Melissa Nathan, Jen Abel, and Justin Baldoni were the ones who handed you a script that said, hey, when you get in front of the camera, make sure to talk about your booze. Make sure to talk about your florals. Make sure to talk about your makeup. Make sure when women ask you for help, you tell them, you respond to them in a sarcastic manner by telling them, hey, what, do you want my social security or something? That's why we don't like you. And it will never make sense to me why you don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me why it doesn't make sense to you. Make me understand. Help me help you understand. What is so confusing about the fact that we did not like how you handled yourself throughout the entire press tour for that movie? Come to find out, you shoved that man in a damn basement. But now you mad because we put you in a corner and nobody wants to like your post online? Anyway, let's take that vote I talked about now. What do you think are the chances Blake Lively shows up to the deposition on Monday? What do you think is a good reason she's going to use? I vote for unexpected planned pregnancy, wink, wink, strep throat, unidentifiable rash, or for one of the kids are sick and there's nobody in the world that can watch them but her. Put your votes below. We're going to pick a winner. I mean, there is also the option that she shows up. If she shows up, nobody wins anything. That's what she's supposed to do. Little housekeeping issue that I've been dealing with ever since I started this. So without fail, every episode, somebody's going to ask about my lip color or what makeup I'm wearing. Follow me to my DMs on Instagram. And even though I feel like I've answered this 100 times, I still have to do it in the comments often. And I don't mind it. I just feel like maybe I need to start talking about it as often as possible so the newbies get it and they don't ask, because I kind of feel like you guys think I'm lying. So on the issue of my lip color, this is my actual natural real life lip color. It's because my lips are too big to do color. I can't do it. So here we have a clean paper towel. I know this is ridiculous. You can skip this part. Skip like a minute ahead. So we're gonna just kiss the paper towel. And you can tell I actually kissed the paper towel because my lips are not shiny anymore. But the paper towel, you can probably see the oil. That's it. There's no color. Now, this is the lip oil. I have about 2 or 3 of them, just different colors. This one is honey. The other one is like peach. I got them at like TJ Maxx like a year or 2 ago. It came in like a 6-pack. It's literally lip oil. That's it. On the issue of makeup, again, paper, my forehead. We're gonna rub. You can see I'm proving it to you. I know this is ridiculous. I'm just wiping the lotion off my face now. So it's just oil. You can see oil there, and you can see, I think oil is the same thing. All right. As ridiculous as that was, I felt like for my sanity, I had to do that because I could not answer one more question. Are you okay? For my sanity, I felt like I needed to answer it for real. And now my face is itchy because I rubbed my face with paper towel. Okay.